أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم
पनाह मांगता हूँ अल्लाह की शैतान मरदूद से।
बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम
अल्लाह के नाम से जो रहमान और रहीम है।
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum brothers and sisters, and welcome to my show Future Stars. I'm your host Alvia Zaidi, and today we will be talking about Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam, who is our 8th Imam, and we will just be giving you an insight on his life, his personality, his characteristics, and also his teachings in Islam and to his followers, as it is his wiladat very soon. So we're just going to make sure that you know a few facts about him just before his wiladat comes. So to join me today we have Sister Amal, and she'll be joining in with stories, she'll be answering questions, and she'll also be giving us a few facts about Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam. So to start off, Sister Amal has a story for us, and this is just about the command of Allah. So it's just a story about Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam and an event that occurred during his life.
The people of King Ma'mun Rashid were very angry that he had made our 8th Imam, Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam, his heir. To show Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam that they did not respect him, the servants of Ma'mun Rashid decided that when the 8th Imam, Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam, came to the court, they would not open the doors or lift the curtains for Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam to pass. The day when Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam came to the court, the doors and curtains were opening by themselves for Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam under the command of Allah. The servants became very scared and ashamed of themselves and resumed the duty of opening the doors and curtains for Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam. Moral: no one can do anything to you when Allah is looking after you, as Allah is the most powerful and in control of everything.
Mashallah, thank you very much, and thank you very much for sharing that story with us. So that was just a small story just to explain an event that occurred during the life of Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam, and also explained about the protection of Allah and also his piety of Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam's piety. So now we're going to move on to a story that I have here, and this is just talking about Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam and what he was known for in his imamate time. So there is a hadith of the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, that when you travel you should give charity. So is it not better to give money of Imam Zamin, another name for Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam, before you go on your journey rather than when you get back, so that may reach the poor quicker? It is said that in Surah Ikhlas, if written and cut into two halves, one given to the traveller and one left at home, will always come together again, so ensure the safe journey of the traveller. The king at the time of our 8th Imam alayhi salam was the son of Harun Rashid. He had forced him, Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam, to take possession of his heir because he wanted to be accepted by the Muslims. Although Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam did not want to take this position, he made full use of it to preach Islam openly. To show the people how much he thought of Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam, the king at the time changed the colour of his court from black to green, the colour of Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam. The king also had new coins made with Imam Raza alayhi salam's name on it. Each Imam is remembered for a specific thing. E.g., our 4th Imam, Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salam, was remembered in illness. Our 6th Imam, Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam, for sustenance. And in the same way, our 8th Imam, Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam, is called upon whenever somebody is about to go on a journey. Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam is also called Imam Zamin. When Muslims go on journeys, and they take with them something called the Imam Zamin, which is some money tied in a cloth. This tradition probably came from the time of Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam, when people used to carry with them money with them, especially because it had the Holy Imam's name on it. As the king of the time of Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam had coins minted with the name of him on them, it was very easy for Muslims to carry the name of Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam with them, especially when they went on journeys. He's known as Imam Zamin, and Zamin means the guarantor. One day, when Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam was on his historical journey from Medina to Khorasan, while in a jungle, Imam Raza alayhi salam came across a hunter who was about to kill a deer. The deer was trying to get away when she saw the holy Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam and said something to him. Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam asked the hunter to free the deer so that she could go and feed her little children, who were very hungry. Imam Raza alayhi salam also told the hunter that once the deer had fed her babies, she would come back. The hunter allowed the deer to go because the Imam had told him to, but he did not think that the deer would return. But Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam waited with the hunter until the deer returned with her young ones. The hunter was amazed on witnessing this miraculous event and set the deer free on a mark of respect for Imam Raza alayhi salam. After this historical event, Imam Raza alayhi salam that is when Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam became famous as Imam Zamin. So that was just another story just to explain about Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam, and this one it gave you a few facts and also gave you an event that occurred just to explain the facts a bit more. And this story explained how Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam was also called Imam Zamin as the guarantor, just to explain about how he kept people safe through the grace of Allah on their journeys. So now we're going to move on to a few questions, and these questions will just give you some basic facts about Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam. And first of all, I'd just like to ask Sister Amal, who was Imam Ali Raza?
Imam Ali Raza was our 8th Imam.
MashaAllah, thank you very much. And when was he born?
The 11th of Dhul Qadha.
MashaAllah, thank you very much. So those were just a few facts about Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam, and now we're going to move on to a few stories about his characteristics. And now Sister Amal will have a story for us, and this is about Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam and his respect for humanity and his kindness towards others.
Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam's behaviour with poor slaves and servants and the destitute was humane and deepest sense of the world. Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam looked on them with his co-religionists, brothers in humanity. One of his followers related the following: I was with Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam when he travelled to Khorasan. One day he laid the tablecloth and gathered all his servants. May I be your ransom, I said. Would not it be better if I lay a separate tablecloth for these? Do not say that, the holy Imam Raza alayhi salam replied. The Lord blessed us with high is this one, all the human beings and children of Adam and Eve, and everyone shall be rewarded or punished according to their deeds. One of the servants, Nadir, said, Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam would never assign a task to any of us, the servants, while we're eating until we had finished. Another servant, Yasir, reported the same about Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam, saying, Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam said to us, if I request you to do something and you're eating, do not get up until you have finished. Sometimes he called from us, but when he has told us we were eating, he will say, leave them until they finish their food. When Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam spared the time, he would gather all his servants and talk to them. Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam would show his pleasure with them, which he did to please them. And when he sat on the dining tablecloth, he would invite all those around him to eat food with him.
MashaAllah, thank you very much, and thank you very much for sharing that story with us. So that was just another story that Sister Amal has shared for us, and this is another event that occurred during the life of Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam, and that story just explains a bit about his personality and his treatment to his followers and fellow people. So talking about his behaviour, I have a few facts here that a high-ranking official at the time of Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam had described Imam Raza alayhi salam's flawless character. The man said that His Holiness never irritated others by verbal or practical teasings. He did not interrupt other people when they were talking. The Holy Imam never refused the demands of others. He was never witnessed to have his legs stretched out. You could never find him in a resting position in the presence of other people. He never swore at his servants. He never laughed loudly in happy circumstances. He never spat. At dinner, all his servants, including porters and even the stablemen, were served in his attendance. And His Holiness would stay up all night praying towards praying towards Allah the Almighty, and he was observed regularly the religious duty of fasting and always gave charity in secret. So those were just a few pieces of information about the behaviour of Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam. And now we're going to move on to a caller that we have on the line. So hello, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Assalamu alaikum. How are you?
अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह बेटे, ये जो आप माशाल्लाह तबलीग कर रही हैं बड़ी अच्छी बात है, लेकिन आपके आंसू के जो नाखन बता रहे हैं कि इस्लाम का तो आप
Okay, well, it seems like the call has dropped, but thank you very much for calling in. And if you'd like to phone back in, just so we can continue hearing what you were about to say, and also if anybody else likes to phone in, the number's at the bottom of your screen, and you can just call in to maybe ask a question about today's topic, maybe so maybe any questions that you have, and also recite something, or maybe just comment on today's topics and share any thoughts that you have. And we will be continuing our topic of Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam after the break, and we've been talking with a few stories and sharing a few facts. So then if you join us after the break, we'll have a few more stories and a few more facts to share with you. Assalamu brothers and sisters, and welcome back to Future Stars. I'm your host Alvia Zaidi, and previously on the show we have been talking about Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam, our 8th Imam, and we've just been giving you a few facts, few sayings, and also narrating a few events that occurred during his life to give you an insight on his life, his personality and his characteristics. And joining me today we have Sister Amal. She's been joining in on stories and facts, and we're just going to continue teaching you about the life of Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam. So to start off, I'm just going to ask a few questions, and these should give you a few basic facts about Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam. So first of all, Sister Amal, who was his mother?
His mother was Bibi Banain.
MashaAllah, thank you very much. And who was his father?
Imam Musa Kazim.
MashaAllah, thank you very much. So those are just a few basic facts about Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam. And now we're going to move on to a story that Sister Amal has for us. And this story is about unfixed wages and the piety and teachings of Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam.
The day Sulaiman bin Jafar and Imam Raza alayhi salam had gone out together for some work, it was sunset when Sulaiman bin Jafar wanted to return home. Imam Raza alayhi salam said to him, "Come to my house and be with us tonight." Sulaiman bin Jafar agreed, and with Imam Ali Raza, he went to his house. Imam Raza alayhi salam saw his servants busy in gardening. By the way, he saw a stranger who was also busy gardening with them. Imam Raza alayhi salam asked, "Who is he?" The servants replied, "We have hired him today so he can help us." Imam Raza alayhi salam said, "It's all right. How much wages have you fixed for him?" Servants, "We will give him something and you will make him satisfied." The signs of displeasure and anger on Imam Raza alayhi salam's face, and he wanted to punish them. Sulaiman bin Jafar came forward and said, "Why do you make yourself uncomfortable?" Imam Raza alayhi salam said, "I have repeatedly given orders till the day they work, and wages are not fixed. Never get the work done by anyone. First fix the wages of the person, then get the work done. Even if you fix the wages, you could give them something extra and can work over it. Certainly, when he finds that you have given him more than these fixed wages, he could be thankful to you, and he would like you, and the affection between you and him would increase, and even it would give him the wages you have fixed. The person would not be unhappy with you. But if you do not fix the wages and employ someone to work, whatever you give him to work with, he will not think of you as you've done him a favour. Rather, he will think of you giving him less than he has actual."
MashaAllah, thank you very much, and thank you very much for sharing that story with us. So that was just another event that occurred during the life of Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam, and this also explained the morals and the teachings of Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam. And now we're going to move on to a story that I have here, and this is about the piety and the total devotion to Allah that Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam had. Imam Raza alayhi salam was the best worshipper of his time. Even his enemies acknowledged the fact that he could not ignore this prominent trait of his. The king at the time, for instance, praises the virtues of Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam in a book in which he declared His Holiness as his successor. The man who forced Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam into exile from Medina to Khorasan on the orders of the king also describes the Imam's piety and worship in saying, "I accompanied him from Medina to Khorasan. I swear by Allah, I have never seen a man who remembered Allah all the time like him, nor have I seen a man more fearing of Allah the Mighty and High than he. At daybreak he would say his morning prayers. Finishing his prayers, he would stay in the place glorifying Allah and reciting these phrases repeatedly. Praises to Allah, Allah is great, there is no God but Allah. O Lord, bless Muhammad and his progeny until sunrise." Then he would go down until sunrise. Then he would go down in prostration until forenoon. And then he would see the people asking about their concerns, enjoining them to do good. And this would last until noon. Another one of the high-ranking officials of the king at the time said that Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam's worship was about this. Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam slept little at night, staying awake for most of it. Most of the time he stayed awake till the morning. He often fasted. He used to fast 3 days of every month. He called this fasting of a lifetime. He was very charitable, giving out charity in secret to the needy, often at night. Whoever claims that he has seen someone else who matches him in his virtues, do not believe them. So that was just a small story just to explain about the total devotion to Allah that Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam. And it also talks about how even the Imam's enemies noticed that he was very devoted to Allah and noticed that he would constantly spend his time remembering Allah, which shows that he must have remembered Allah majority of all the time and shows his trait and his piety. So now we're going to move on to a few more questions, and first of all I'd like to ask Sister Imam, what famous hadith is Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam very well known for, and what was it that he said?
He was known for the golden chain hadith.
MashaAllah, thank you very much. And what can we learn from Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam?
Like, we can always respect other people, and we can always learn from others. We can always remember Allah while doing it.
MashaAllah, thank you very much, and thank you very much for answering those questions for us. So those were just a few basic facts about Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam. And talking about the total devotion to Allah, Sister Mal has a story for us, and this is about his piety and his ritual of an Eid prayer.
When Eid day fell, Ma'mun Rashid ordered the Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam to lead the Eid al-Fitr festival of the end of the month of Ramadan prayers, and all the notable offer of the prayers with him. To begin with, Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam did not accept it, but when Ma'mun Rashid insisted, he was obliged to accept it. But then he made a condition that he will only hold the prayer the way his grandfather, the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam did. Ma'mun Rashid accepted this. Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam put on clean clothes in the morning of Eid al-Fitr, perfumed himself and wore a white turban upon his head, calling takbir. He moved towards the outskirts of the city barefootedly. All the people moved along with him, calling the slogans of takbir, Allahu Akbar. The thundering of the takbir made the city tremble. The people were so lost and immersed in their emotions that they were weeping loudly when uttering praise and solutions to the Holy Prophet Muhammad and his descendants. The condition was such as in the sky and the earth, and all the beings and creatures had joined in the voice of calling takbir with Imam Ali Raza. When Faisal bin Sahal, the minister of Ma'mun Rashid, observed the state of affairs, had become dangerous. He informed him that if Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam offered his prayers in this manner, riots and revolt would take shape. The officials were all afraid of their lives that were at risk. Therefore, Imam Rashid must at once send a word for Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam to turn back. Imam Rashid at once sent an official to tell Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam to come back as soon as possible and not hold the prayers assembly. Imam Raza alayhi salam put on his shoes and rode the horse and returned and showed to the people that all of those things were a part of Imam Rashid's game. The anger and hate of people for Imam Rashid went up, and their love and affection towards Imam Raza alayhi salam increased. All the people perceived and understood the hypocrisy of the public deceiving attitudes towards Imam Rashid. They appreciated that all and he had been doing by Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam had political motives.
MashaAllah, thank you very much, and thank you very much for sharing that story with us. So just another story to explain about the piety of Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam and also his teachings towards his followers. So previously, Sister Mal answered a question for us about a famous hadith, and she mentioned about the golden chain hadith. Now, this was a very famous hadith that Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam had told to everybody while he was travelling through a town, and I'm just going to tell you what this hadith was and what it meant. So once our 8th Imam, Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam, was travelling through a town called Nishapur. The people of the town asked Imam Raza alayhi salam to tell them a hadith from the Holy Prophet. Imam Raza alayhi salam told the following hadith. My father, Musa Kazim alayhi salam, told me, from his father, Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam, from his father, Muhammad al-Baqir alayhi salam, from his father, Ali Zain al-Abidin alayhi salam, from his father, the martyr of Karbala, Hussein alayhi salam, from his father, Ali ibn Abu Talib alayhi salam, from the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, from Angel Jibreel, from the Almighty Allah. The kalma of La ilaha illallah is my fort, and whosoever says it will enter my fort, and whosoever enters my fort is safe from my punishment. This hadith is known as the golden chain hadith. This is because each member of the chain was an imam. The people of Nishapur began reciting the kalma and thought that His Holiness' talk was over. But to their amazement, the Holy Imam Raza alayhi salam added the following words to what he had previously stated. But this depends on some conditions, and I am considered to be one of those conditions. So that was just the golden chain hadith that Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam is so famous for, and this is just explaining the meaning and the event behind it. So now we're going to finish off with Sister Mal just sharing with us a few facts and a few sayings about Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam, and the sayings of course, what he taught to his followers.
His first name was Ali. His title was Raza, Imam-e-Zaman. His designation, the 8th Imam. His kunyat, Abu Hassan. His father, Musa ibn Jafar. His mother, Bibi Sultana al-Banin. Born 11th Dhul-Qa'dah, 14th 148 AH, 765 AD. He died on the 17th of the 29th Safar, 203 AH. He's martyred by Mamun. He's poisoned. He's buried in the Mashhad, Khorasan. He lived 55 years. The brief sayings of the Imam was, a man who takes pain and labours for himself and his children is like someone who fights the holy war, also known as jihad. Whenever you take someone's name, always take it with respect. Keep yourself clean, since cleanliness is a matter of profit. Worst of people is one whose extinct is one who is no use to people. The one who commits dishonesty with a Muslim is no one to us.
MashaAllah, thank you very much, and thank you very much for sharing those facts and also a few sayings that Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam said. So that was just to give you a brief summary of all the information we've shared today, and also just a few facts and sayings. So that finishes off today's information side of today's show, and it just finishes off about the teachings of his life, also a few facts and a few sayings, and of course we had questions and answers. So now we're going to move on to the craft section of today's show, and today we'll be teaching you how to make these lotus flowers. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters, and welcome back to the craft section of today's show. And my guest sister Mal will be joining in with today's craft section, and we will be teaching you how to make these lotus flowers. And they're really simple to make, and of course we will be making them out of origami. So what you need for today's craft is a square piece of paper, as we have here. Now we've chosen a pink piece of paper, and of course you can use any kind of colour that you want. You can use red, you can use yellow, you can use any sort of colour. And of course Japanese paper craft is of course what we'll be using, so origami. And you'll be needing a square piece of paper, and the size of your paper doesn't really matter, but the bigger the size, the bigger the flower would be. So the first step you need to do is, taking the top corner, you need to fold it down to the bottom corner, like so. And then you're just going to crease along that line. And then what you need to do is take one corner to the other corner, so folding it in half again. So then you just fold it in half, like so, and then you just crease lightly down that line. And then you open it back up again. And then you flip it over so the top point is facing upwards. And then what you need to do is take one corner, and we're just going to fold it towards the centre, but instead of taking it all the way to the centre, we're just going to make sure that some of it sticks out of the side. So if I just do that to show you, we just have here. So as you can see, I'll just show my guest. So it's just sticking out the top of the page, and so it's not folded all the way to the centre, it's just sticking out at the top. And what you need to do is do exactly the same on the other side, just to make it parallel. So we're just going to fold it up. So as you can see here, you have it folded up, so it's not quite to the centre, because here's the centre line. It's not quite to the centre, just so it sticks out at the top a little bit. And then what you want to do is simply take the bottom corner and fold it up a little bit. So I'll just show you, like so. We're just going to fold it up a small amount. So as you can see on the back, it's only been folding up a little bit, and that's just to create a flat bottom surface, like so. And then the next step is to take this corner on the edge of the petal and just fold it backwards a little bit. So if I just show you how to do that, then, so here it is. So as you can see, it just rounds off the lotus flower shape. So here you have a point, and then here you just folded it back just to make it smoother. And then you want to do exactly the same on the other side. So we're just going to fold that down, and then you can see the final shape here. So here's the final shape, and as you can see is you've got the rounded bottom and then the edges. So this is the really simple lotus flower shape. You can make it out of origami, and obviously you can use any colour that you want, any size that you want, and it's a great craft idea for an activity that you can do with your friends, or maybe you can give this as a little gift to a family member. And we'll just show you what Sister Mal made. So mashallah, that looks really well made, and so that's just a really quick and simple way to make a lotus flower out of origami. So that finishes off today's craft, and I'd like to say thank you very much for watching, and I'd like to say thank you very much to Sister Mal for coming along today and joining in with all the stories and the facts and also the craft. And also thank you very much for watching. Hope you now know a bit more about Imam Ali Raza alayhi salam, as it is his wiladat coming up. So now you can share with your friends all the facts that you know and all the events that you heard today. So thank you for watching. I'm your host Alvia Zaidi, and this is Future Stars. Khulafis.